What's up, everybody? This is Alex here, bringing you guys an update on candlestick setup. So I've made a few videos on these over the past year, and they were all okay, but this is definitely going to be the simplest, the cleanest, and with just the setups I think are necessary. So in the TA course that some of you guys might have seen or might be seeing in the next month, you'll notice there's about double this many setups, and yeah, I think some of them are pretty good. I just think these 10, or really it's 5 setups, but there's they both have bullish and bearish variants, so it's 10. I think with these, it's really all you need as far as candlesticks go. And in my opinion, that's just what I've come to see looking at a bunch of charts, and I know JJ likes a lot of these candle setups, so yeah. We'll get right into this. For those who have not seen these candle setups at all, these are the candle setups I keep talking about. If you hear me say, oh, there's an engulfing here, there's a setup here, buy the setup, get your setup with the cycle, topping tail, bottoming tail, blah, 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 BCI. That's all candle setups, okay? And some of them, like the engulfing setups, the topping tail, the bottoming tail, those are reversal patterns, like we talked about. And then the takeouts and the BCIs are going to be candle setups where you typically add to existing positions. All right. So, excuse me. So we'll start with the engulfing setups. And really, I find almost every candle setup is a variation of an engulfing setup. So if you can only take something away from this, pick up what an engulfing setup is, okay? And we're going to start off just going through these. I can't change my screen share to share the PowerPoint and my chart, so I actually recorded like a whole hour video without thinking I was recording the PowerPoint, and it was actually just the chart. So I'll do this, and then at the end we'll go through the charts, and we'll look and see if we can't find some candles. And then after that, we'll also talk about how to use these with cycles and pivotal points for those who don't know about that, because that's really what it comes down to. And then in the future, a different video, we'll go into some position sizing stuff that can really take you to the next level, because candle setups are key, cycles are key, it's all key. But without proper position sizing, it's not really going to do much for you. And that's why I like setups, because you'll see each of these setups has a defined entry and stop. And that stop is going to really define your risk, because if you know exactly how far you are away from your stop, you get just the right position size so that you're only taking your max loss per trade if you get hit. Okay? All right, so starting off, the first two, the bullish and bearish engulfing. So this is the bullish, this is the bearish. So you have the candle doing the engulfing, which is the actual engulfing candle, right? That would be this candle and this candle. And then you have the candle being engulfed, which is this candle or this candle, right? So a bullish engulfing candle closes above the high of the previous down candle, and a bearish engulfing candle, closes below the open of the previous bullish candle. Right? And the entry is the takeout of that swing high of the bearish candle, or the takeout of the swing low of this previous bullish candle. That's the entry. Now it's up to you whether or not you choose to take anticipatory entries or confirmation entries. Or often I will even use something known as a 2-bar rule. So the anticipatory entry, right, if this was a daily chart, would mean entering the moment this daily candle breaks above the high of this candle, right? That's the anticipatory entry. The confirmation entry is waiting until the daily close. And then the 2-bar rule is waiting for 2 closes. Okay? And I more often than not use the confirmation, waiting for the close, but occasionally I'll use one of the others, the 2-bar rule or the the anticipatory entry. I don't really use the anticipatory that much, but I will use the 2-bar rule for stopping out of like core positions and stuff like that. Right? So that's the bullish engulfing, and that's the bearish engulfing. And like I said, a lot of these are just going to be variations of that. So definitely want to keep that in mind. And the second one is going to be the same thing, but just the delayed version of that. All right, so when you have a down candle like this one, it does not have to be the next candle that engulfs that candle, right? It can take 1, 2, 3, 4, anywhere up to 15 candles to engulf this pivotal down candle. And you'll often hear me talk about the high of this candle being the swing high, or if this was if we were following the opens of bullish candles, I would say the swing lows, right? So when you're looking for a bearish engulfing or delayed bearish, you're looking for the swing low of an up candle to be taken out. And when you're looking for a bullish engulfing, you're looking for the swing high of these bearish candles to be taken out. All right, and you can see like the swing high of this candle did not get taken out by this candle, right? Closed below it. But the swing high of this candle did get taken out by this one, closed above it. Okay. The exact same thing goes for delayed, right? So not much different there. Just I like to think of the multiple candles all as one big wall or one big candle that the buyers have now put in, right? And so if this uptrend is going to continue, then that wall should hold. And if it doesn't, we want out. And that's why our stop goes below the engulfed candle, okay? That's one thing to keep in mind here. The stops go below the engulfed candle or above in a short setup, or they go above the high of the move or below the low of the move. So in this, I don't remember if I made this image or if I think I made this image. I might have taken the pictures and added the stop and entry and stuff. But this stop line should actually be above this wick here, okay? Much like the stop here is below this wick. Right, you want your stop below the extremity of the two candles, or the stop above the extremity, right? Above the highest point, below the lowest point. Same thing goes for the delayed, right? If you have a down candle like this, and say maybe one of these up candles puts in a wick, right? That's lower than the engulfed candle. You put the wick as your stop, right? You don't put it below the engulfed candle. If there's any wick that is lower than the engulfed candle, your stop goes below the wick, okay? So just one thing to keep in mind. And we'll have a candle later where the stop does not go below the engulfed candle, but below the candle doing the engulfing. We'll see that when we get to it, okay? So next up is going to be topping tails and bottoming tails. So, excuse me. Topping tail is the short setup. I don't have the image for the long one. I just didn't make one, but it's the exact opposite. So a topping tail setup is when price closes below the open of a candle that had a large wick at the top, right? And yeah, that's really all there is to it. The same thing goes for the other candles setups, right? You can take the anticipatory trade right when the candle breaks, or you can wait for the close. All right, so essentially here you've got buyers brought it all the way up to a level. The sellers took it down by the end of that candle close. And then the next candle, the sellers were in charge and took it below the open of that bullish candle. Right? So that can be a short setup. That can be a take profit signal, right? And the same thing goes for a bottoming tail. These are typically reversal candles. And it doesn't mean a bear trend goes into a bull trend. It might be a short-term reversal, but usually this bearish candle here will get follow through more often than not. Okay. And then in addition to topping and bottoming tails, we have their takeouts, which is it's very similar. The topping tail takeout is a candle setup which occurs when a bullish candle closes above a previously pivotal topping tail, right? So in this example, we have a big wick here at the top of this candle. Right, price stalls, and then price takes out that wick, okay? And as I mentioned earlier, in all these, the stop goes below the engulfed candle But in this case, the stop goes below the candle doing the engulfing. All right, it's just a way to keep risk nice and tight, because this is not a reversal setup. And I guess in one sense it is, right? You have a topping tail that tries to reverse this uptrend, and then this engulfing reverses that reversal. So it's a reversal in its own way. But truly, you have an uptrend, it stalls, and then this continues the uptrend. So really, it's just a continuation pattern. But because of that, because you're adding to an existing position, it's a little bit more risky sometimes. You want the tighter stop as opposed to all the way down here, right? Because then you got to use smaller size if you have a larger stop. So I put the stop below the engulfing candle, right? And that's a chance to add. And the same thing goes for bottoming tail, right? The significance is all these sellers being taken out by this wall of buyers, right? And if that wall of buyers is going to go away at some point, we don't want to be in the trend anymore. So we're going to stop below that, all right? So that's a topping tail takeout. And again, if you guys need to pause at any point, go back, listen to what I said again, or just pause and look at the charts yourself. Obviously do it. Right? And then last but not least, we have the bullish candle or bearish candle ignored, right? So a bullish, and you'll hear me call this a BCI times. This is I didn't really find much information on this online. And I'm pretty sure JJ created this one or termed it or, whatever. But it's really good. I've used it a lot and been really successful with it. So a bullish or bearish candle ignored can occur once we get a bearish candle following a bullish one in a bull trend. And obviously the reverse is true for a bearish candle ignored or bullish candle ignored, right? And if the open of that bearish candle gets engulfed, we have a BCI setup. And more often than not, these will occur in the middle of the moves. Meaning, all right, we have 1, 2, 3 candles going up, and then you have a candle that attempts to reverse that pattern or stop it or stall it or basically do anything but go up. And then that candle gets negated, essentially, right? So this candle tries to stop the trend or change it, and the buyers come in and basically negate that, right? That's a sign of strength, and we want in on that, both from the upside and the downside, right? And more often than not, the candle after the BCI gets follow through. And that's why we don't take profits on the BCI or the candle following the BCI, right? Usually we take profits on this candle or this candle. Okay? And it'll typically be the middle of the move. Not always, but more often than not. All right, so that's all. That's the only setups that I think you truly need. There's all these different kind of haramis, hammers, yada, yada, but they're all just different variations of this, if you ask me. Okay, so if you guys need to go back through, pause, look at those for a minute, please do so. And I'll catch you guys on the charts.